Hello! Welcome to Chewed Gum. Today is June 10th, and we are here with the lovely, the wonderful Arden Hart, who's the backbone of the line. And you can call us at 720-619-2288. We actually have some calls lined up that I'm excited to take, so it'll be an exciting show today. Arden, how are we?
Listen, I'm tired. It's been a long work day and we have calls to talk to. So the world's crazy right now. My mood is not great, but I'm here and I'm happy to be with Alyssa. So that's good.
Yeah, literally right before we started, we were catching up for like a couple of minutes and it was just so depressing. And Arden's like, so on that note, I guess we're going to go to the show. But I do always feel better after doing the show. I'm not going to lie. It does make me feel way better.
For sure. It's I think it's more like, you're probably going to get like pretty like emotionally activated. That peripheral nervous system's going to be heightened a little in some of these calls. And when I'm already like tired and having a long day, it's kind of like, that's a lot to put on yourself. Yeah. But I'm sure it'll be fine. And I'm sure it'll be good conversations for the most part. And we get to see all you guys.
Exactly. And it's also every time I am like, and sometimes we have crazy shows and sometimes we have really easy shows. It's like always the days where I'm like, I want to fight. Like I want someone to call and be crazy. Everyone is so nice. And we have like the kindest calls. And then when it's like a day where I'm like, I have nothing I am a squeezed orange. I have nothing left. That's when someone's like, I'm going to tell you about abortion. And I'm like, so we're going to see how it goes today. And I don't actually know what I want more. Do I want someone who's going to be crazy or do I want someone who's going to be chill? I don't know.
I want at least one person to show up and make a good clip for me to make my job easier so that we can make a little money and, smack some bullshit around. So that's all I need. As long as one person gives me that, I'm happy.
I get that. And on that note, I think that we do have a really interesting potential first call.
Wonderful.
And are you ready?
I am so ready. I've never been more ready.
Great. Okay. We're like shaking off like the weird mood and we're going into it. Okay. So let's pull in Gohan into the chat. Gohan, no pronouns.
Oh, how
Gohan, are
you?
you there?
Yes.
How's it
Hello.
going?
Good. How about with y'all?
Seen better
We are
days.
yeah, we're doing okay. So what I just got I literally sorry, I got distracted because I got a text and it just says I have annoying news. So I'm going to put my phone on do not disturb. That's a
Oh
good
boy.
uh reminder because I don't want to know.
Nope.
Anyways, I'm sorry. Go ahead. What did you want to talk about today?
Well, I was also going to just say, no worries for y'all. Like every time I call in, I'm always nervous as well. So it's like, yeah, you guys are on edge, kind of because like what's been going on in the world. I'm on edge because it's always a little nerve wracking to talk on the phone. So maybe we're not in the same spot, but at least I feel a little bit of what you guys are feeling.
Cool. So give it to us. What are you calling about today?
So I was calling to talk specifically about bodily autonomy. The way I view the argument of abortion, it can be broken down into two sections. One is about personhood, and the other is about bodily autonomy. I was going to skip the whole personhood debate and just focus on bodily autonomy.
Great.
All right. So one question I have, would you guys say that bodily autonomy is like an absolute right or absolute right?
I don't think it's an absolute right, meaning there's no exceptions to that rule. And the first thing that I thought of when you said that is usually when someone calls in and they want to talk about bodily autonomy and abortion and they're not in favor of abortion access, the next thing they say is sort of like related to the mask mandate. So it's like bodily autonomy is okay when you're going to kill a baby, but then when there's a mask mandate, then blah blah blah. So like that sort of thing. I think that there are exceptions to full bodily autonomy. I think that you should not be allowed to harm another independent living person.
Yeah, I think I would also add, I'm not sure that anything is typically absolute in law. Like there's usually exceptions because bodily autonomy is like a legal concept, right? Usually.
Yeah.
And
I'm not going based off of law. I'm going based off of like how y'all think it should be. I know like should, but I'm going more of like morals instead of legal.
Well, I don't really care personally about the morals of it because I think, quite frankly, like morality is kind of subjective. We're all going to come to different sort of calculations about the morality of any kind of act, including abortion. And so I really care about the like legal framework around the human rights way more than the morality. I actually like don't care about the morality conversation at all. If you think abortion is immoral, then I don't really care about that. You have a right to
I
think
think that's
things
a
are
fair point to
immoral.
bring up. Yeah, I think that's fair to bring up. Like you kind of want to focus more on the legality of it because everyone has different opinions on morality, and it's really hard with the topic of abortion to stay in like one lane instead of jumping around because it's so easy to jump around to different topics. So if it kind of helps us to steer the ship a little bit better, then I'll switch more to legality, but with the understanding that whatever we try to base on, like whatever we try to say is legal, has a backdrop of morality on it. Do we agree with that or no? If not, I'll just skip it.
Kind of.
I
I
don't
mean,
know.
like, yeah, sorry, go ahead, Alyssa. I didn't mean to.
I don't know. I don't know if I think they're kind of implied, but I don't know if I can say that 100%. I think like I don't know if that's really like a precedent that we have to confirm to have this conversation. Like we can talk about bodily autonomy from like a legal perspective, meaning the bodily autonomy that we are entitled to have, in terms of like what we are legally allowed to have. I don't really know that like morality needs to really, I don't know. I don't know how to explain what I'm trying to say.
I think like legal rights and morality are they're not orthogonal, right? They're not like completely unrelated. Clearly, when we're
Yeah.
making laws and legislation, that's informed by some attempt to kind of police morality in some way. But I don't think it's fair to say that they're like completely overlapped or like one and the same or anything. That's kind of where I'd be coming from on that.
Okay. Okay, that's fair. Let's just jump ship with that then. I think we're fairly close with agreement on that anyway, so it doesn't matter too much. Let's talk about Alyssa. I think, I'm sorry, you said there were limitations that you saw fit with bodily autonomy.
Yeah, like I think if you are like I don't have bodily autonomy to the degree that I can swing a punch at somebody else and say I'm just expressing my own bodily autonomy. You can't tell me what to do. That doesn't make any sense.
Okay.
Bodily autonomy doesn't apply there.
Okay. And Arden, I think I heard you say something very similar.
Yeah, I don't really think there's probably any like legal absolute with bodily autonomy. I'm sure there's some exceptions that we could think of if we really sat on it. But generally, when I'm talking about autonomy, I'm talking about like some sort of like extended, prolonged use of your body to some degree against your will. Like, I don't think like a vaccine requirement to go to school would count as bodily autonomy because you don't have to go to that school, right? There are other options there to avoid getting the shot. Like there's still freedom in that framework. And same with masks. Like if you don't want to wear a mask, you don't have to go outside. I don't know if I would say that violates your autonomy in my eyes. But like if your baby's already born and somebody's like, I'm hooking you up to a machine, now for the next 6 months, your blood is going to be filtered through their body and that's how they're going to stay alive. That would definitely be violating your autonomy, right? Because after that, like you're not having a choice. You are being used as a tool for this other person.
Yeah, I agree with that. So I think that I'm ready to get more into the meat of the argument. I'd say that bodily autonomy gives you the right to not save somebody's life or not keep somebody alive, but bodily autonomy does not give you the right to kill another human.
What if that baby is violating my bodily autonomy because it depends on my body to be a viable life? So that baby, that fetus is violating my bodily autonomy.
Sorry, I think I finished my sentence too early. I'm sorry. So you're not allowed to kill another human. No, it wasn't you. I just finished too early before I finished my thought. You're not allowed to kill another human unless there's high risk of severe harm. And even if it is like a 4-month-old baby who's violating your rights because they're violating your bodily autonomy because they poke their finger in your eye. I don't know. That definitely violates your bodily autonomy, but that doesn't give you the right to kill that human.
I wouldn't say poking your eye violates your bodily autonomy. It violates your personal space. It hurts, but it's not like
bodily autonomy.
That
is bodily autonomy.
That's not how I described bodily autonomy. So if that violates your framework of bodily autonomy, then I guess that does, but that's not what I'm talking about when I'm talking about bodily autonomy.
So
I feel like I want to get to the point about how you're relating this to abortion, because we've been on this call for like 9 minutes and I feel like I want to get to like the meat of what we're talking about here instead of the hypotheticals about.
Yeah. I don't have too long with this call, so I agree with you, but that is pretty much the meat of it. You're not allowed to kill somebody based off your bodily autonomy unless there's high risk of severe harm. And abortion, pregnancy always brings a risk of harm. a very high risk of harm, but it's a very low risk of severe harm. So it doesn't qualify you to kill another human, unless it does get into that threshold of this is severely dangerous. You have the right to use lethal force in self-defense. But if it's like the vast majority of pregnancies, it is not severely dangerous, and you don't have the right to use lethal force in self-defense.
So what makes you qualified to determine whether another person's pregnancy is severely, what was the phrase you used? Severely harmful to a person.
Harmful.
And yes, what makes you the authority, and what makes governors and the government an authority in what is severely harmful? Because you're also talking about the psychological harm, the harm that having a baby does to a family or a person who is not ready for it, who cannot afford it. Like there's a lot of degrees to severe harm, and at the root of it, and what really just drives me fucking crazy, is we don't trust the decision making of women ever. There always has to be someone else involved to be able to make that decision. Why in the world would anyone else be able to decide what I get to do with my body? It's not your fucking business. And it's very often that the same people who are pro-life, which I can't even, pro-forced birth, like, I don't know. Pro-life is like the dumbest phrase I've ever heard in my life. It's forced birth. If you are pro-forced birth, you care so much about this baby until it's born. And then we don't want to give people universal health care. We don't want to give parents better daycare options or financial support. This is the same party that has that same behavior. So I don't buy for a fucking second that you care about this kid. I think that you want to intervene in the choices of women because you don't trust their decision making, which is unacceptable to me. So that's one part of it. The other part of it is 99% of the abortions that happen because of medical or health reasons. And they also happen well before that fetus could potentially live outside of its mother's body. So you want to talk about this thing causing severe harm or whatever, that fetus cannot exist without the mother. It depends fully on the mother. It's using her full bodily autonomy. So again, her choices don't matter, and you don't care.
I specifically also, I remember last time I was talking to you, Gohan, you used a similar argument that was essentially like, if a father is holding his newborn infant, that's a violation of his bodily autonomy, and he should be able to just drop that baby on like the cold hard concrete. According to this argument. That's why I specifically defined bodily autonomy as like the prolonged use dependent upon your body, because holding the baby poking your eye, those things don't violate a prolonged dependent use on your body. You can put the baby down. You can pass the baby off. You can pull the baby's hand away from your eye. None of those things are violating your autonomy in any way.
So really quickly, I'll try respond to two things in there. There's a lot. One for Arden. I'm not sure, but I think this might be my first time speaking to you. I might have spoken to you before, like on the whole.
I might have produced the show. I don't know. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah. So I'll just try to respond to both really quick. But as far as like your definition of violating bodily autonomy, it has to be prolonged. I really don't think you believe that, because if like somebody violates a woman's bodily autonomy just for a second, does that make it okay? No, rape is still rape.
The prolonged use depending on their body. Depending on their body, right?
It doesn't matter how long you violate it. A violation of bodily autonomy.
Fair criticism. Fair criticism. Let's throw that out then. Throw out the time frame. It's the dependent upon your body part that I'm concerned about. Fair criticism. Throw it out. The dependent part, right? Still means that your concern, your criticism, doesn't cross my threshold of bodily autonomy. Poking your eye, being forced to hold the baby, doesn't violate your bodily autonomy. Anyway.
Because it's not dependent?
Correct.
Okay. So if a baby is dependent on you to hold them up, how does that not qualify
baby
for dependence.
Isn't dependent on your physical body to hold them up. You might have to prop them up, but you can also set a pillow behind them. You can also set anything behind them. Or you can be an evil person and let that baby fall and have their head crash against the pavement. That's not violating your bodily autonomy.
Go ahead. I have a question about the bodily autonomy. Go ahead. I have a question. So, and I've asked this of other callers who have this similar conversation with us, because after a while, we really get into the weeds of all of these really like insane things that have like, why are we talking about? So my question to you is, at what point does the bodily autonomy of a woman who has a life and a job and friends and a place to live, hopefully, like, at what point does her bodily autonomy not matter in favor of a fetus who could not survive without her body providing it life and a place to grow? At what point does the bodily autonomy shift, and now it's the woman's life doesn't matter anymore?
I think
and her choices don't matter. Her body.
This is a fair question. I think it gets into the response I was going to give to you. I said there was two responses I want to give. I gave Arden one, and now I want to give you one. One thing I was going to say was, as far as my rule of you can't kill a human unless there's high risk of severe harm, and you brought it back to a fetus. It's not just applied to a fetus; it's applied to all humans. So it doesn't matter if it's a 5-day-old or 5-year-old, a 50-year-old human.
But this is something that cannot survive. This is something that cannot survive. It's not fully developed.
You're switching now use of lethal force to protect bodily autonomy, not based on lethal harm, but based on dependency of that human. Is that correct?
No one is aborting a baby that if you took it out of a woman's body at that time, it would survive without her. That's not
killing.
That's not real. That doesn't happen.
It's not just
so I'm not the life dependency part is an essential part. Go ahead. The life dependency part of it is an implied essential part of this conversation, because abortions don't happen at a part of a pregnancy where that fetus doesn't rely on its mother's body any longer. That's not how this works.
Get into that, but I'm going to say, like, if you want, we can go down thought experiments of which are very likely, where a 5-day-old human is completely dependent.
I don't want to go through a thought experiment of a 5-day-year-old human, because that's not realistic. What I'm talking, and that's not what this conversation is actually about. No, it's not. No, it's not, because an abortion, removing a pregnancy is not the same thing as killing a 5-year-old child. Go ahead, be so fucking for real. Really? So you think those are the same?
Last time I called into the show, I spoke to you and Promise, and Promise kind of had a similar response, but she eventually agreed to go with the thought experiment, but then she gave me another thought experiment, and I think it was more of like, does she have the right to, do I have the right to take blood from her if she causes an accident? I don't know if you remember that. If Promise ever listens, she could let me know if I'm wrong on this. Which
she has a few of those
arguments where she thinks of herself.
Yeah, I know the hypotheticals you're referring to. What about them?
So I think I have two questions based off of this, and then I probably have to go. But I want to say thank you guys for being good conversationalists. But one thing is, why, like, Promise was able to accept both hypotheticals and engage in both.
She was much more patient than I feel at this time, Gohan, because there's the problem that I'm having with this, and the problem with all of the hypotheticals in the world is I, for the life of me, cannot understand why you, Gohan, no pronouns, by the way, in Texas, gets to decide what all of the women everywhere else in the world do with their bodies. Do you believe, Gohan, in universal healthcare? You want to talk about hypothetical conversations and thought experiments. Do you believe that healthcare is something that all humans deserve to have, regardless of the income they have?
You mean like a human right?
Is healthcare something that all humans are entitled to have, regardless of if they can afford it or not? Quality healthcare for every human being. Yes.
Hello? Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Can you hear us?
He dropped.
Oh.
I really had no patience for that today, because it's just like unfucking believable. It's the same, the actual cognitive dissonance between being a person who's, don't pretend for a fucking second that this is about children. Don't pretend as we have mothers being ripped away from their children, and these children are crying because they don't know when they're going to see their parent ever again. They have no idea where they're going, how they're going to get in touch with them. In that circumstance, we don't care because we don't know what their immigration status is. When in reality, I actually would like to know that if someone came up to me who was born and raised in this country, my parents were born and raised in this country, and they asked me, sorry, this is like a different little rant, but this has been on my mind all day. If someone came up to me and asked me for my papers to show that I'm a legal citizen, I don't know what the fuck I would need to show them. I don't know what are you asking me for? Literally, what are you asking me for?
Yeah.
I wouldn't know. You want my driver's license? That's like literally all I have. I don't know. So, but this is the same party that's telling me that they care so much about these children. No, you don't. No, you don't. You care about controlling other people's choices. You don't think that women are responsible enough to make their own decisions, even though women are told their entire lives, boys will be boys, girls are more mature, and you know, girls, you just have to suck it up, don't worry about it. He just has a crush on you. They're more mature, they mature faster and earlier than boys. Then all of a sudden we get to be adults and we can't make fucking decisions anymore. Mm-hmm. Then we can't be presidents, we can't be CEOs, we can't be in leadership roles. But I thought we were the ones who were really mature our entire lives. Okay. And then we also are the people who have the responsibility in a traditional whatever nuclear family to raise an entire generation of people, because that's what moms do. And we also are primarily viewed as the people who are like teachers when kids are young. So don't feed me the line of bullshit that I've been hearing my entire fucking life. I'm up to here with it. And Gohan can fucking sit and spin, because I'm done. I'm done. And he caught me on a bad day. And I have no patience for it.
It's great. I think I don't believe for a second that he or anyone thinks that being forced to hold your child is violating your bodily autonomy. I think that is a complete joke. And honestly, it's a little bit offensive, I think, to our intellect. Not that we're just like the smartest people in the world. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, like, even if I am sub-average IQ, it's offensive to my intellect that you would think that I could buy that. That's so obviously stupid. And also, on your note about like, oh, you don't really think of these fetuses that way. One of my favorite hypotheticals that really gets at this is like, imagine you are in a burning building, house is on fire. There's 2 rooms. You can only save what's in one room, right? In one room, there is a living baby 6 months old. In the other room, there is 10,000 fertilized embryos. Which one do you pick? If you have any kind of fucking conscience, it's really obvious. You pick the living baby, right? You don't actually value fertilized embryos the same way you do actual human existing life. Even if we said like 2 months developed embryos, I think most people would still pick the actual fucking human child. It's yeah, really embarrassing.
It's the minute that it's a grown woman. And then we don't care anymore.
Yep.
And then suddenly it's her fault and she shouldn't have had sex and she shouldn't have gotten pregnant. And I'm like, I'm just I can't engage in that conversation in any, because the people who have that conversation with us are so fucking dishonest.
Mm-hmm.
And I just like you are also to call a show and be speaking to women about it, like just tell me you hate me to my face. Like just say to like just tell me to fuck off if that's what you want to do. Like just tell us you fucking hate us, cuz that's kind of what you're doing, and that you literally don't care if we live or die. You
Totally.
literally don't.
I have more respect for. I felt this way about like Christians my whole life too. Although now I feel like I have more of a longing for progressive Christians because times are dire. But like where I have more respect for people who are more honest about their beliefs, even if it's truly awful, than if they're like going to try to bury the lead. Like, yeah, you see like on like dating shows and stuff, like a bunch of clips have gone viral recently of like these men who will like go on this dating show and they'll like keep their politics hidden most of the time. And then when it finally comes out at the end, they have to admit that they're like a fucking misogynist. And then people are like, oh, okay, well, I'm done. And then it's like, everyone's like, oh my God, you're being so dramatic. And it's like, yeah, no, just fucking own what you believe. Like,
just own what you believe. And you know, like I always think it's so funny that like people who are who vote, specifically people who voted for Trump, I think like it's a different thing for people who like historically were Republican, which is still, in my opinion, not great, but I can understand. But people who have voted for Trump and then are publicly not political, or are like, I don't really like to bring politics into the conversation. Again,
politics in the conversation.
Right. Tell me you hate me to my face. Like, just tell me to fuck off. Like, tell me you literally don't care if I live or die, because that's what you're doing. And I don't know any person who is like liberal in any sense, like someone who didn't vote for Trump or like is against Trump. I don't know anyone who wouldn't share that.
Yeah.
It's only people who voted for him who are like ashamed, and they fucking should be.
Yeah. I had kind of the worst. Listen, I think it's good to maintain relationships with these people if you have the mental capacity to, because that's how we're going to get them out of being radicalized towards like the awful shit they're into. But I think my worst crash out was with a family member who, in defending all this stuff, was telling me how much they love me. And I was like, honestly, don't ever fucking say that to me again. Because it is so offensive to me that you are willing to advocate for a world that is demonstrably worse for me, that makes my life significantly harder and more stressful and more work for me. And then to turn around and say, you love me. Those two things are in conflict. They cannot overlap in my book. That is not love. If you think that's love, I genuinely have so much pity for you. And that was definitely the worst crash that I ever had on a family member. And I low-key feel a little bit bad about it like once a week. But I'm like, and then I think about it and I'm like, no, I was totally right.
You were so right. You're absolutely right. And as part of that too, like for the people who were very like very sure that Project 2025 was not, he didn't write that. That's not what he's trying to do. Don't worry. I'm not voting against you because I'm not voting for Project 2025. I'm voting for Donald Trump for some fucking reason. And now here we are, and we are 5 months into his presidency, and we've seen him checking off all of these fucking things on the list of Project 2025. Again, fuck you. Fuck you. You didn't want to listen to the people who for years told you that this is what he was going to do. We said it. We said it. And none of us wanted to be right. None of us wanted to be right. I would have so much rather like eaten shit and been wrong for the rest of my life and been like, okay, maybe we were a little alarmist. It was a lot. Like we could have taken a lap, like taken a Xanax, had a glass of wine. We got no, but that's not what happened. Instead, we have a fucking police state and a government that actively hates everyone who is not rich white men.
Yeah. No, I was also doing production stuff on the side here. I'm not gonna
No,
lie though.
I'm just like having a little mental breakdown about it all.
No,
My little emotional support cow.
not that I want you to be in distress, but I will say you did give me the best thumbnail options in this clip that I think I've ever gotten from you. You're
Really?
Oh yeah. You give me some good ones. Some people in the cast don't really like give a lot of facial reactions while they're talking, and so I don't have a lot of material. You've given me some good ones, but those were the best. You were so twisted, like so heated throughout that whole thing. It was great. I loved it. It was awesome.
Because he immediately pissed me off. I'm glad we took that call first, because and that brought me right back. This cow, by the way, it has like little things in it. Like it's called warmies, and you put it in the mic. It's like a heating pad. So you put it in the microwave and it has like little beads in it.
Yep.
And it smells like lavender, and I'm inhaling the scent of lavender for my fucking life right now, bro. Because like I
fuck with lavender so hard. It is my favorite.
Me too. I'm trying to get it to calm me the fuck down.
All right, we do have other calls, and we're trying not to run a long show. Do you want to?
Yes.
There's some of those bottom two look like they're a little more intense. We could do them, or do you want to like do something more mild first?
No, let's do it. We have a theist. I think we should prioritize the theist. We're steering into the skit now. That's the phrase.
All right, let's do it.
Okay, let's pull Gary into the call. Hello, Gary.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. I was just listening kind of briefly, and I saw your line, so just wanted to talk with you.
Okay, great. Awesome. So let us know what you wanted to call about, because they can't see the note that you provided. So let us know on the for the rest of the chat.
Oh, great. Thanks so much. A lot of people in the world are really terrified by the leaders that we have since of late, and it just hasn't started with Donald Trump. I think Kim Jong-un was probably the first breed of Trump's kind, and he seems and obviously Hitler, but he seems to have less physical violence, but he seems to trouble the hearts and minds of people, because it's like they know where his heart is. Even though he's not massively slaughtering people, it's like invisibly he's harming people, like their psyche, their peace, their conscience. And I actually believe it's the end of the world, and the Bible has actually foretold it. And so nations are being troubled right now. And as a theist, that's what I wanted to talk about.
Gary, in some ways, I hope you're right, because my God, am I tired. And when I think about what the alternative is, oh my God. When I think about the alternative, which is how we would have to walk back from what this situation is right now, it sounds exhausting. So in some ways, kind of hope you're right. But I also, hasn't there been multiple times where this conversation has come up of there's biblical evidence of the world ending? It was sort of like when it was going to be the year 2000, and then we all sort of held our breath and nothing happened. So what makes you think that it's going to happen now?
It's a great question, and I think that's just the way it's designed. Just like any scientific research, failures for some reason with religion, it causes people to doubt and quit. But if we were looking for the cure for cancer or for some scientific breakthrough like COVID, if the vaccine wasn't effective, I don't think it would have that same reaction. I think people would root them on to say, look, you failed, keep going. But in terms of religion, there's extra scrutiny, I think, because deep down inside, we really don't want the world to end. And I think Trump is a picture
Gary,
of that very fact.
Hold on a second. I might have misheard you or misunderstood. Are you saying that if, let's say the vaccine didn't come out or didn't work, it sounded like for a second you were trying to equivocate? Is that even a word? You're trying to make it is? Okay. It sounded weird when I said it. You were trying to equivocate. I don't know, Gary. My brain, I have 4 brain cells I'm rubbing together, hoping for the best. Biblical evidence and scientific evidence, like creating a vaccine and putting that out into the world and saying like people don't believe it when it's the Bible, but they do believe it when it's like a vaccine that came out. Did I hear that right?
Well, I'm making a parallel, a comparison and contrast, where if someone is doing research, let's say for prognostication, there seems to be more like the weatherman. We hate the weatherman if he says or she says it's going to rain or snow and people they gear up for it and it doesn't happen. Meteorologists, they really get hated. And I think it just falls in line with that category where when there's impending doom, you better get it right or we're really going to get the pitchforks out for you.
I just, my problem with this though, Gary, is like you started the call being like, oh, like we never had a guy like Trump until, no, except for Kim Jong-un and Hitler. And I'm like, well, you can keep doing that. Like, despite how awful and evil Trump is, we still live, maybe like 3 years ago or more, we lived in the best times. We still live in like some of the best times ever, right? Like leaders have always been pretty cruel and heartless and willing to step on the throats of the people below them. And there have always been, and like there's constantly end time prophecies. Oh, it's going to end now. It's going to end now. Oh, we got a little wrong. It's going to end now. Now it's in 2 weeks, 4 years, 20 years. Like it's just, there's always a new end time prophecy. And it's always about wars and bad things happening. And like wars and bad things are just always happening constantly. Right. There's 8 billion people around the world. There's always negative stuff going on. So I guess I'm trying to see, like, what do you have that's tangible that would actually indicate the end times?
I would say the tangible evidence is look around you. Have you ever, I know World War I and II were absolutely horrible, right? And countless lives have been lost. But if you look at society today, yes, people are still going out, having a good time. And I think in popular Christendom, people think that the end actually is like a violent Armageddon type of physical destruction. But actually, the Armageddon is more so the destabilization of society and the breakdown. And I could be wrong, but the trouble that's going on is going from every aspect of the moral, or of the fabric of society, not moral. I'm not talking about morals, I'm sorry. But every fabric of society is being damaged. And I would give you this question just to prove it. Can you tell me just one aspect of our lives that doesn't seem to have that kind of troubling that's going on?
There's lots of aspects of my life. Like this is particularly what's so frustrating to me about the Trump administration. My career is in a better place than it ever has been. I'm in the longest, healthiest relationship I've ever had. I have lots of animals that I love. I have best friends. I have healed from so much of my personal trauma. Lots of my personal life is going good in spite of the bad things happening around the world. And in part, that's because, I have a lot of privilege in my life. But like, I think, I'm sorry, I had to laugh when I said, can I have tangible evidence? And you said, well, just look at the things around you. I like that felt like the complete opposite of tangible evidence. So listen, I'm not denying that shit's fucked up right now, right? Like, no question, military occupation in Los Angeles, California, because they don't want to allow Trump to like separate families and like destroy, hardworking communities. It's fucked up, but I don't know if I think it's the end times. Although climate change has definitely got a clock ticking on us. So, but Alyssa, you look like you're ready to jump in.
Yeah, I also
if I could respond to that, if possible.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I think you said that your job is good, your friends, your family, your pets. So the nature of judgment is not for all of those things at once to have that pain where you would say, yeah, this must be the end. So what happens is it goes from nation to nation or a specific area. So there could be layoffs in one region and they're troubled, or it could be a war in another region, or a celebrity could get exposed, or the Epstein files would be released, or it could be like a myriad of things. It doesn't happen simultaneously, because if it did, it would cause so much troubling that people would actually recognize it. It's actually more of an invisible Armageddon for those that are not aware of it. But for those who are spiritually minded, they can pick it up.
What is the benefit of picking it up as a spiritually minded person and picking it up as biblical evidence? Because in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, so like let's say we all accept this is the beginning of the end of times. Then is the expectation that we all sort of enter like fuck it mode and we're like, well, it's going to be the end of the world. So let's just pop open a bottle of champagne, wait for it to wrap up. Like, what do we do? Like, what do we do with this information?
So here's the best part. Popular Christendom has always taught that you have to give your life to Christ and accept him and receive him and follow the laws, go to church. All of that's been broken down and the truth has come up. It's actually a lottery system. In our society, we have the lottery. Well, in Christianity, it's not. God does not want us to gamble because that's actually how he chooses people. It's a lottery system. So in this lottery system, based on
Wait, Gary, what? My parents are not going to like this. Continue.
Yeah, it's actually biblical. The lot is cast into the lap, but the dispersing thereof is of Jehovah, and that's how That's how salvation is actually equalized, and the playing field is broadened. So you don't even have to accept Christ. It's a lottery system. You could be a baby, a fetus.
Wait.
You could be whatever. And all it requires is the word of God in your faith.
A lottery system to be saved?
Yeah. Faith cometh by hearing. So, and it's not even that of the ears. It's actually a spiritual energy that God emanates through the Bible. So it doesn't require you to do anything.
I feel like I'm astral projecting into another realm because what do you mean? I feel like maybe I'm not understanding, so I'm going to clarify. Because are you saying that? So my parents are both Christian. They go to church every Sunday. My mom goes to Bible study. Well, all the things. They are not guaranteed a spot in heaven. They are put into a lottery system when they pass, and one might not. It's a lottery system. That's the lottery system we're referring to?
That's correct. Two shall be in the field. One shall be taken and the other left. Two will be grinding at the mill. Two will be in the bed. One is taken and the other is left.
This sounds like it fucking sucks. Why would anyone want to believe that?
Yeah, also...
That sounds terrible.
I feel like this is contradicting other things about the Bible, but also that verse you brought up, the lot is cast into the lap, also is followed by, but it's every decision is from the Lord, which is specifically indicating that while it seems random to us, these are active decisions that God is making. But if you are saying it's random whether or not we get into heaven, it's not truly random. God has decided these people I'm going to save and these other people I don't. So are you saying that nobody should try to care to get to know God because it doesn't fucking matter? God's just going to pick randomly anyway?
Well,
what's the point of evangelizing in this framework?
You can't, right. So this is why I love calling the atheist hotline, because the atheists, they study the Bible sometimes even more than the Christians. And so I like talking with you guys. So when someone, if you notice, if you go to a regular church, right, you go there, immediately they'll tell you God has a wonderful plan for you. All you have to do is accept and believe him. Then you got to come to church every Sunday. Then you have to come to Bible study. And if you fall here and there, that's all right. God loves you. But then, depending on the church you go to, make sure you pay your tithes. Make sure you're showing up every Sunday. Oh, where you been? And what happens is Jesus was very upset with this. That's why he overthrew the tables when they were selling doves. They merchandised the gospel, and that's why the harlots, the publicans, the sinners, the homosexuals, all of them, they loved Jesus because they knew that they could come right as they were without any works. Because God's love is not based on what you do. Just like true love. True love is. You don't have to earn it.
So can Hitler get into heaven? Because he just got lucky on the fucking spin of the wheel?
Well, that's what the even playing field is. That's why a lot of Christians look down on other people, and that's what disqualifies them, actually. Because their trust is in their work. What they
that doesn't answer my question, though. Like,
so can you be disqualified from this lottery system Like, is Hitler disqualified?
More than likely, Hitler was never saved based on the activities he's done.
But why does being saved doesn't matter? According to your framework, being saved does not matter.
Power of Satan. More than likely, he was under the power of Satan to do such horrible things.
But even still, by your framework, that doesn't matter. It's random. So, like, you could be spoiled by Satan, but I got really lucky. I pulled the right lotto number. Good for me.
And also, and that's the thing. Okay, so I want to like just take a step back for a second because I want to do some clarifying because I also think, are you a Jehovah's Witness? Like, is that how you would categorize your faith?
No. In fact, all churches are corrupt. I'm not a Jehovah's Witness. I'm a non-denominational, no church affiliation Christian, just from the Bible interpreting itself. And actually, all the church age actually ended. So most people in Christendom today, they would not be in agreement with this, and you'd probably be right on par with them as they hold on to their creeds and traditions of old. They don't understand any of this right now at this time.
I don't know that anyone understands any of this, Gary. That's why I have some clarifying questions. So
the
reason I was asking is because
and I apologize.
The reason I asked is because someone in the chat thought that maybe that was like in line with a Jehovah's Witness ideology, but the lottery system.
No.
But so what would be when I talk to people about religion and like what purpose it serves for them, many times they will say to me that it provides moral guidelines with basically paired with the consequence of if you don't follow the moral guidelines, you will not get to go to heaven. Based on your interpretation, which I'm not sure if you're doing this isolated, like this is the Church of Gary and the interpretation of Gary, or if this is like with a group, I'm not sure, unclear, but based on your interpretation, the moral guidelines don't really matter, ?
They do matter, and that's why I love your topic. So basically, let's say someone doesn't go to heaven, right? There's a lot of myth, and our society, Western society, has taken on Christianity and really polluted it. So if someone dies, they don't burn in hell forever, right? They just simply cease to exist. They live, they die, that's it, if they're not saved. If someone is saved, paradise, from what we think, they've made it look like some kind of beach where you're just, sitting by the fire and you're in these clouds and you're singing angels and all that. But actually, the new heaven and the new earth is actually spiritual language. We actually don't know what it's going to be like, but it's going to be super glorious, but it's not going to be one of just recreation and earthly kind of living. It's actually trying to understand knowledge, which is the way of perfection, a more perfect way. I don't know what that is, but I think those who are going to be extracted from this earth, it's almost like a sci-fi movie. You ever notice how there's
wait, no, I don't want to do you never noticed yet, but stop, pause button for a second, because first of all, I want to point out that Alyssa asked you, so does this mean the moral stuff doesn't matter? And I don't really feel like I got an answer to that, especially, you said it does, but that also completely contradicts what you said earlier, where you're like, the homosexuals and the harlots loved Jesus because they knew that what they did in this life didn't matter because it's just a fucking random lottery. So, like, I'm trying to find the coherence here because it really feels like this is just the Church of Gary, not just the Church of Gary, but the Church of like straight out of Gary's ass.
So just to let you know this, right? There is a method of interpretation. That's why there's so many denominations. Unfortunately, they never understood that the Bible actually defines itself. I was talking with Matt Dillahunty once, and he said, I have something called circular reasoning, and so he dismissed the Bible. But I wanted to give a retort, but he kept cutting me off. I wanted to say to him, our very government and our very civilization is based on circular reasoning, and it's in our Declaration of Independence. We hold these truths to be self-evident. So a self-evident truth doesn't require proof of it. It's a self-evident truth. And me talking to you is not going to convince you.
So why are you calling?
I'm only calling because this is just the nature of the gospel. It's like you cast a seed, right? You ever hear the parable of the four soils? Some fall on good land, some fall into thorns, some get scorched, and
So
sometimes the crow eats it up.
I have another question, Gary.
Sure.
So I have this book here. It's called Rogue, and it's by Mona Awad. I don't know if I'm saying her name right.
Mhm.
What is the difference to you in
Mhm.
me saying that this is the Word of God, and that this is the book that I'm going to base my entire, I wouldn't suggest it based on what I've read so far, but what I'm going to base my entire moral code,
Mhm.
and I'm going to interpret it the way that I want to, and this is how I'm going to live my life. Why shouldn't I do that? Why is your book the one that I should be basing my entire life and moral code off of?
Lovely question.
If it's not for the guarantee of
Right.
the pearly gates.
This is the great question. So these are the parameters that I would ask. What are its claims, right? What is it guaranteeing? Who is the author of that? And how does that author represent itself? Is it an all-knowing power? How does it recognize its power? How does it demonstrate its power? Right? What is the prerequisites for the gifts that this book that you're presenting is offering? And how would a reader from, let's say, different parts of the world come to the same understanding? So, for example, when I proselytize and I go like to different parts of the country, there will be someone who'll be like, exactly, I got out of the church, I'll believe this or that. And I've never talked to that person before. Why? Because somehow they understood that the Bible interprets itself and we were able to come to the same truths. So there's a harmonization from,
But
yes, go
also
ahead.
that would just imply that they read, doesn't it?
Right. But there's also a spiritual component. So that book would be making some pretty astounding claims, and I'd like to look at it. Because the only way someone's really going to understand something is to taste it, to see what its claims are, and to see if it's verifiable by the spiritual implications of what it's actually stating. So if that book came to me somehow, because I read the Bible, would be able to detect if there was spiritual harmony within the pages of it. So that book should be alive. It shouldn't just be a book that was written by a human being. The book would have to be what we would call, how do I say, God-breathed or inspired. Breathed by the breath of the
I
spirit
would
of life
say
itself.
that there's probably up until like the most recent decade or so, I would say that many people would feel that way about Harry Potter. So again, what would make anyone, and also I would like to point out that there is an entire religion, that Scientology, that is based off of a book that was written not that long ago, that was written as sci-fi, and then a man manipulated an entire population of people to believe that it was truthful and that it was going to give them some answers, and has created essentially what is a cult around it. So now we're talking about something like the Bible, which is a collection of stories, most of them written hundreds of years after the events allegedly occurred by people who were not there. And they also have been changed since the first iteration of it. So to me, there is actually no more merit in the Bible than there is Rogue by Mona Awad. There is no actual, nothing more credible about the Bible than there is about literally any other book that's ever existed. And the biggest difference is that a community of puritanical white men decided that it would be a great tool to manipulate other people. They took that book, they interpreted it however they saw fit, which is also, again, like you're talking about how when other people have, you're proselytizing, whatever word you use, and you're talking to other people and they've have confirmed that they can read, and so they've read the same thing as you and it's come alive to them. But then there's 40,000, actually 45,000 denominations, so it's not clear. The Bible does not speak for itself. I think that, and you know that because your interpretation of it is unique, to say the least, and very much a Gary interpretation. You know, so why? I'm still lost on like why anyone would believe any interpretation of a random book. Nonetheless, the Gary interpretation of it, which
Great.
seems
So I can right. I can try to
unhinged.
answer a few things. Number one, if Harry Potter was offering eternal life within its pages, it's a huge claim, and many people would be eligible for that if that's what its claim was. But we all know
So
Harry
what
Potter
you're
is
saying
just
is
it's just
what you're saying
entertainment.
there has to be but there has to be you're saying there has to be a claim, a lie in a fictional book, because in my opinion, both fictional, equally fictional. So basically Harry Potter's claims aren't big enough for you to the
Well,
lie is not the story is not big enough for us to be like, ah, that's the
I would
one.
say I would say a few things. I would say on the surface level, I would at least give the Bible a try. Why? Because based on its book, we've balanced society, the highest society. If we held those truths to be so evident that all men are created equal, these are proofs from the Bible, right? And our judicial system, 12 judges, I'm sorry, 12 in a jury, that's based on the 12 tribes ruling with Christ. These are all spiritual language, of course.
I
7 days in a week, 7 days of creation. So at least on the surface, I would say, okay, what are the claims of the Bible? What is it stating? Compare that to the other books. Because our society is based on the Lord Jesus Christ.
I can't anymore. Big pause. Listen, every question you give us like 12 questions back, and questions that I genuinely don't think if I sat and tried to pull apart, I could actually tell you what I thought you mean. Like, this is like I'm talking to Jordan Peterson, and it's stressing me the fuck out, man. There's no coherence to any of these statements. The days of the week, one of them is named after fucking Thor, so definitely not Christian. I have no reason to believe, I could be wrong, but I have no reason to believe that 12 people in a jury has anything to do with the 12 tribes of fucking Israel. We hold these truths to be self-evident. Is talking about like human rights. People tend to have empathy towards other people. That's very different from the circular claims within the Bible that the claims of the Bible are true, right? We hold these truths to be self-evident isn't making claims about reality and eternal life. I'm sorry, Gary, but this was so fucking confusing. I just want to point out, I wrote this down when this happened. Earlier, Alyssa asked, what's the point of following the book if not for a ticket to the pearly gates? And you said, well, I would ask questions like, what are its claims? How does this author represent its power? How does it demonstrate its power? The book was alive, and reading the Bible gives you the power to see spiritual stuff on the page. I'm sorry, but that's fucking meaningless. There's no meaning to be found in that collection of questions and statements. It's gobbledygook. So I'm sorry, Gary, but I can't continue. If Alyssa wants to, I'm happy to sit by quietly, but that made no fucking sense. And it makes me want to eat glass.
That's the beauty of it all, right? So you rejected it, or
that's not beautiful.
Any validity to it.
That's not beautiful.
Right.
And that's incoherent.
And someone else, right, you may not find it coherent at all. And so
no, it's not coherent. Like, it's not about me.
Well,
like, that did not make sense. There was no through line in the concept.
Right. But if you look at the basics of Christianity, the Jews crucified Jesus because they thought he was like someone who was a heretic. They didn't understand his speech, and it didn't make any sense to them.
Are you implying that you might be a Jesus situation?
A follower of Jesus, and if I'm speaking the way he is, to some, it's going to seem like gobbledygook. That's the nature of the gospel.
To somebody who can follow logical claims.
It's not logical. You see, that's the problem. If we approach a spiritual book with logic, it'll never make sense.
Yes, sister, it is not logical. I'm so there. All right, I don't know. I'm sorry.
Well,
this is genuinely like talking to Jordan Peterson.
You guys are awesome. Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks, Gary.
Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
I feel like an asshole. I'm sorry, but I just...
That was crazy. I don't know what that was.
Also, he said, well, if Harry Potter offered eternal life in its pages, I was like, oh, cool. I can literally write, you can get eternal life by listening to me on a piece of paper. So now you have to listen to my religion, right? Or you have to consider it? Shut the fuck up.
Also, the chat was very upset that I kept saying rogue and it's rouge. And I don't know, I misread it. You know what, like, you pick, like, I never had to, like, say the name of the book out loud because I just, like, picked it up.
Yeah.
So I just, like, never thought about it.
Totally.
But it's rouge, and I got it, and I know how to read, kind of. That was also one of my favorite parts of Gary's whole thing was when he was like, I know that when I talk to somebody else, they also saw the same thing I did. And I was like, reading?
Right. They saw the shapes on the page.
What are we talking about? Are we talking about reading?
Okay. I don't know if you I gotta pull this banner down, but of the callers left, we probably only have time for like one. So do you want to pick your favorite and we'll have our screener let the others go?
Yeah, I think the other two, I would love for you to call back next week because all the calls that are left are awesome. But Arden and I are both at the end of our fucking rope. And so I think we're going to do one more call and then please call back next week. But we have a deconstructing theist. So I think it's like still sort of in the line of theist vibes. But Toby and Ellen, please call back next week. I would love to talk to you guys. And we're going to pull in Deborah into the call. Hello, Deborah.
Hi.
How are you?
I am good. How are you guys?
All right. We've had a crazy day.
Yes, I've been listening. There's some interesting callers.
Indeed, Deborah. What did you want to talk about today?
So, yeah, I am a deconstructing theist. I have kind of, I've had doubts for like a long time about Christianity because that's what I grew up in. I was Baptist, and my family's all still is and everything, and I have just been, it's been more recently that I've actually started deciding to actually deconstruct and actually like go into it and try and figure out like, why am I having these doubts, and is what I believe even rational? And I mean, I've pretty much come to the answer that no, it's not, but I think one of my hangups has been where I can't like fully let it go is my question that I put in with the call screener was that does the idea of what happens after everything scare you with your lack of belief in a god or gods? And because I think that's one thing that's been a struggle for me is that it kind of just scares me if I fully let it go, I guess.
That's fair. And I think that I know you are not alone, especially as a person who's deconstructing, like really coming to terms and understanding how you feel about that and like really embracing the fear in that is, I think, an experience that most people who deconstruct have. And I would recommend checking out Recovering from Religion and utilizing their resources because I am almost positive. Oh, it's raining. I was like, what does that sound? I'm almost positive that that's like that has to be one of the most asked questions or most like the biggest challenges that people have internally. Personally, and I feel like I sound like Promise because this is probably what she would say. I was really more driven by what was true. And so for me, it felt like I was being a part of a religion like Christianity, like Catholicism, felt like trading in my integrity, what I thought was true, in favor of an alleged God that I don't have proof is real, that I don't think is a good person, even if he is real, and is like an egomaniac. And so I kind of was like, at a certain point, I was like, I actually, even if this this other world exists, I don't think that this is like to like put all of my life in the hands of a person that I think is like, first of all, not real, but if he is not a good person, on top of it all, to earn my place with him, I was like, I don't even really think I want to be there. Like I'll be in whatever nebulous nothing there is as an alternative to being a part of this like community that I think is like super out of their integrity at best, and extremely harmful. So yeah, and I second guessed myself. I think even like when I joined the line, because I was not like, and this is like well over a year ago now. I think I didn't second guess that I didn't believe, but I don't think that I had like as strong of conviction in what I did and didn't believe in as I do now. And being part of communities like this just helps. And like to some degree, it's like sort of creating an echo chamber of like confirming, like, okay, when we have people like Gary call in and you're like, literally, what the fuck is he talking about? It's like those types of moments are kind of helpful. Like they help you just like ground yourself in like the version of Christianity Christianity that existed in your home might have felt really harmless to you because it was what you grew up in, and day to day felt harmless to you. But when you see it on like this macro scale, and you have the Garys of the world calling and saying like the most batshit things you've ever heard in your life, and when you see it in a macro scale, like the way that we do in like the government that we have now and the decisions that they're making on behalf of the rest of the country because of their own personal belief systems, it's easier to be like, okay, I understand why I'm choosing out of this and why I get to opt out of this thing that is like pretty objectively harmful. Arden, do you have any thoughts?
Not too much to add on to that. I did want to ask you though, Deborah, kind of what it is that scares you about it. Because I think I usually hear like two main themes when people say they're scared of what happens after, right? Like either it's a fear of hell, that eternal torment, or it can often be also like a fear of if heaven's not real, then that means all of my loved ones who I thought I was going to get to see again, suddenly now that is taken away from me. So I'm kind of curious where you're coming from on that.
Yeah, so it's kind of a mix of things, and I kind of feel like I don't. This is going to be kind of weird to say, but I kind of feel like I'm screwed either way because I kind of feel like if I hold on to my beliefs, whether or not I hold on to my beliefs, and if God is real, that I feel like I'm going to hell no matter what because I have probably, even before I started actually deconstructing, it's been several years that I have probably been like, God's a dick. And I kind of hate him, and he doesn't know how to run a universe. I kind of feel about him the same way I feel about Trump. Trump doesn't know how to run a country. God doesn't know how to run a universe. And
Period,
I'm like,
Deborah.
that probably is something that is not going to curry me any favor with God. So I think that probably a pretty like something that's in the cards for me if he is real, but also just kind of the idea of also just nothingness, because not knowing is also just kind of scary in general. I mean, I already am a fairly anxious person, and I have had a lot of things going on in my life, and it is kind of scary, the thought of there not being anything and not being able to, see loved ones and things like that again, or there being something and it not being the way that people try to portray it is either, you know? So it's kind of a mixture of things.
Yeah.
I'm trying to it's just all scary to think about in a way.
I was going to say, I know like one of the lines that people will like to use to combat this is like, how much time are you spending being afraid of afterlives you don't believe in? But it sounds like you are genuinely like, nope, I'm afraid of all of them. I've been concerned about all of them.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's hard to, maybe I'm just weird about this. I've honestly, the way I've come to peace with it is kind of, you can appeal to that sort of like, you there was billions of years before you were born, and that didn't really feel like anything to you. So it really is going to be no different after you die, right? And to me, I kind of view it honestly as like a wonderful, relaxing sleep to be in oblivion. I'm like, oh my God, dude, life is so exhausting. I like life. I am not depressed or having any desires to be there, right? Like dying sounds terrifying. But to me, I feel like the absence of existing sounds quite peaceful. I'm like, when it's my time, I'm going to be like real ready. Be like, man, this shit was exhausting. I am so done. Like, let's put a cap on it here, But yeah, I mean, I think, I don't know. I don't know if there's any one way to deal with it. I think that, really enjoying your life now, the one life that you have, is really important to help you cope with not knowing. Cause like, no one's ever going to know, right? No one's ever known for sure what happens. And so I think really maybe the task on you is to try to figure out if you're able to focus more on the life that you do know you absolutely have, which is this one. And like Alyssa was super right to point you towards RFR to kind of help you, maybe interact with some people who are going through similar things to you to kind of get their thoughts on it because they're more actively in the process of it. But yeah, I don't know, Alyssa, do you have more thoughts on that too?
I think it's like you were saying, like it's interesting because I think not being a part of religion anymore and like not engaging in conversations about like afterlife created so much more meaning for me in my life now. It felt like it put a fire under my ass to like do the things that I want to do. It created so much more meaning out of every interaction I have with the people that I know and I love, because even if you decide, you know what, this is really scary and I actually am going to go back to religion because at least then there's some relief in, whatever. Not knowing if, like, you still don't know for sure that an afterlife exists. And once you've sort of like released that possibility, then you're able to really focus on the time that we do have. And like, what an incredible gift of perspective to say, like, oh my God, like every moment that I have on this earth gets to have more meaning now. Like the impact that I can bring to every moment of my life can be like massive because now I've like put sort of like a different end cap on it. And the other thing too is like we have no control over when we go. It could be in 60 years, it could be in 10, it could be tomorrow. It won't be for any of us, but it could be. Like we don't know. And so it's more than anything, I think it's motivation to make the most out of all of the time that we have. And I agree with Arden that I think there's kind of like a grieving process that you should experience, I think. But once you get beyond that, it's actually kind of like peaceful. And it almost feels like when I was more involved in religion, I felt a pressure of, am I doing enough? Am I showing up enough for this God, for this community that like honestly doesn't care about me? But am I being the person that I need to be to make it into this exclusive club? Versus now in my life, I feel like I can evaluate my life based on the people that are important, the projects that I want to engage in, the life that I want to create, like the love that I want to share with the people and animals and whatever that I care about. Like your life really gets to be the one that you want to create, which is exciting. So I think there's like a lot of perspective shift that you get to have in this. And I think that sometimes it feels a little bit like we are like Delulu gaslighting ourselves into like being okay. But I kind of think that like sometimes a lot of the time, it's a kind of a fake it till you make it until you start to believe and like live in that truth, which is every moment of your life gets to be special now. And more meaning gets to be imposed on every moment of your life and every interaction that you have. And like this might be, I mean, this might be the motivating factor for, like, maybe there's the same barista at your coffee shop every single day, and maybe one day it'll kind of hit you to be like, oh my God, like, I have a limited amount of time with this random barista, and they have made my day so much better, and like, now I get to be super nice and be like, do you live in the area or whatever? Like, who knows? Like, this could change your whole life in such a positive way if you let it. So I don't know. I would explore the perspective shift in what this has to offer you. Know that you are so normal for feeling like a little bit like, oh, fuck, I don't know if I like this feeling. And the second guessing yourself is normal. And check out Recovering from Religion too, because they have like a chat support, a phone support. They can help you find peer groups. They can help you find therapists who specialize in exactly this kind of situation so that you feel extra supported in that way. Engage in our communities too. Like, the chats on YouTube are really helpful. I haven't been looking, but a lot of the times, even like when we're having conversations like this, like, our community is really encouraging and really kind. The Patreon has a Discord group too. Like, there are communities of people that have had this shared experience and can give you real tangible support. So lean on that and like really lean into it and find community in it, because life is hard enough. Religion gives people community, but the atheist community is also really special, and we get sort of like a bad rap, but ours is really cool and really fun. So
Yeah. I mean, I have definitely I've met other atheists. I mean, most people have, obviously, but I obviously not all of them, but it does seem like another thing that is kind of helped with like shifting my viewpoint is that there are sometimes it seems like Christians and even other religions, just very religious people, can be some of the like more like most hateful and judgmental people. And then the people who don't have that are sometimes some of the like nicest people. And it's like, then if you're supposedly supposed to be this like good person because you believe in this thing that may or may not be there, why do you put other people down just because they don't believe that, or just because they do something you don't agree with, or all of that stuff? And I've never been able to really get behind that because I think as long as you are a good person, what does it matter who you are or what you do or things like that? And so I've never been able to be one of those people who can just openly hate people for things like that, you know?
Yeah. I mean, attitudes towards the LGBTQ community are one of the primary reasons that people list for leaving their religion that they were born with in like the States today. So like that is a very like pervasive problem across religious people, at least in the United States, but I think like more broadly as well. But also like, don't get it twisted, atheists can also be completely awful, terrible people. It happens more than I would, think should be possible, but we are just as prone to tribalism and hatefulness, unfortunately. But it's also like, I guess a lot of this comes down to, I think, just kind of trying not to rush yourself and kind of just like allow yourself to be on your own path, like everyone's is different. Like, I know a lot of people who were like, oh, I found out this thing wasn't true, and then I just dropped it. And then I know people who were like, oh, I had, stages. Like for me, I got into like a lot of woo, like out of body meditation and chakras and all that kind of stuff for a little while before I was an atheist. I think everyone goes through their own journey. So it's kind of just trying not to rush yourself and like accept you for where you're at and just try to honestly answer questions like, how do I feel about this thing that I was told to believe? Like, do I actually really believe it? Yes, no, why? Like, just as long as you're sincerely having that conversation with yourself, I think that's all that can really be expected of you. So sounds like you're doing it already.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely picked an interesting time for me to like go through all this too, because I just recently, within the last few months, started living completely on my own, and I've never lived on my own before, and I'm in my 30s, and I am getting ready to get divorced, and it's just a whole thing, and it's just I think that kind of helps me though, kind of jumpstart things because I'm trying to figure out who I am without that and being on my own and everything. And I also just recently, it's probably been only like a couple of weeks since I started listening to The Line, and that helped too, just hearing your guys' conversations with people and your guys' arguments against some against some of the
Yeah.
Christians and things like that too.
Deborah, can I ask real quick before we wrap up and move to super chats? Without doxing yourself, if you're anywhere near St. Louis, there are like several atheist skeptic groups in St. Louis, pretty much every metropolitan area. So if you're like on like a border to another state and somewhere some other cities closer to you, definitely check that out. Because
Yeah.
especially, it sounds like you are very alone in this situation you're at. So on top of RFR, like we already recommended, please do go check them out, recoveringfromreligion.org. So many resources there to help someone in your position. But it sounds like you really need community right now. And I would hate for you to be super alone in this because I think sometimes people can default back to what's comfortable in that situation rather than, truly like pushing themselves to ask questions when they're in that situation. So like super proud of you for getting yourself where you are. That's awesome. But definitely investigate a little. I know Missouri is super red, but there are, those good pockets. So yeah.
Yeah. And if they're not like physically around, find the communities online, like be a part of this, because like that the Line community exists because of the people who watch. Like we get to be here because people watch and because people like hang in the chat and send us super chat. Like, and they've created such like very cool relationships with each other. Like if you only just found the Line, you'll notice there's a lot of like inside jokes that we all share, and like even that kind of stuff, like it seems like silly or parasocial, like I guess from a distance, but in reality, like that is community building. That's what it is. And like that's what this community has done for each other. And like, it's cool and it's special and it makes a big difference in what this experience gets to be. And also like this is the rebranding of Deborah. Like you're getting divorced, you're in your 30s, you're living in a new place, like you're deciding to choose out of religion. Like you get to like, this is actually very badass and very cool, and you get to like actually do whatever the fuck you want, and that's amazing. So truly, I think like you have such a huge opportunity for a perspective shift, and it's not going to be easy at times, but like Arden said, like leaning on community where you can find it, whether it's with friends, family, or with the Line community, or like, with our like individual social communities, whatever, like lean on that. Like humans need that. Especially when you're in like full rebrand, which is exciting.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely been a change for me, something I'm getting used to, and I don't live I mean, a lot of my family lives in Missouri as well, but not as close to me. I'm like a couple hours away almost from most of them, so it's kind of weird living on my own and everything, but I've been binging kind of the Line. I just have them and I listen to them on the way to work.
It helps.
I have to commute like half an hour, and then and so I definitely have seen like some of the comments and stuff, and like I've heard several videos of Marie, who everybody seems to know, and her talking to a lot of people, and also some other like repeat people who call in and everything. So it's been interesting and it's been a learning experience.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, We love you already, so hang with us. We're the cool kids table, I think, and we're so happy you're here.
I'm so excited for you.
Yeah, like this is an amazing new chapter, and some of it's going to be scary, but like we as a community, we got you. And so join our little chat, watch us live, call whenever, and our community is a really safe space to be. Hopefully, everyone behave. Don't now that we said this, don't turn around and embarrass me in front of Deborah. Okay? Anyway, the chat is already very much embracing you and is like in the chat I've seen several times like, oh, Deborah is so me 6 months ago, Deborah's me a couple of years ago. Like we've all been here. So like you are so not alone. And call back again and let us know how everything is going. And like stay engaged in our community, and we're happy to have you here.
Well, thank you for taking my call.
Awesome.
Anytime. We will talk to you soon, Deborah.
Yeah, and I did want to real quick say though, I do really like watching both of you on different things. I've seen you on different shows and everything. I mean, I like everybody, but you know, I kind of tend to lean more towards listening to the women.
Yes.
Yeah, girl. We love it.
That's what we love it. See, that was the whole point of us doing the show, so I'm glad.
So really fun.
Perfect. Awesome. Best of luck, Deborah.
Thank you.
We will talk to you so soon.
Oh yeah. I'll plan to call back in at some point.
Please do.
Please do. And we can't wait. Have a good night, Deborah. We'll talk to you soon. Goodbye.
Okay, bye.
Okay, we love Deborah.
Aw. Yeah, that was really nice.
Yay! Okay, let's get into some super chats. Everyone behave. I see you all talking about Deborah in the chat. And everyone's like, you know better. We like you work on the internet. Don't say stuff like that. I'm like,
I know.
Please.
They're so weird.
You guys.
The Council of Brents. I'm only just getting hip to the Council of Brents inside joke. Like, okay.
This is new. All right. $5 from Sarah Talks Podcast. Hi, Sarah. Jessica can't afford a super chat, so I'm doing it on their behalf. They want Arden to know that espionage. You will never escape that.
This is following me forever.
It really is.
Jessica, why? Jessica's going to beg for other people to super chat in her honor to say this.
Yes.
I am
to make sure that you know. Yeah. Thank you, Sarah.
All right. We actually have like 28 super chats, kind of a lot. Yeah.
Wow.
20 Canadian dollars from Quantum Chaos. Pro tip, when lowering the floor jack after lifting your car, double check that the jack stand is sturdy and that you are not directly under the bumper of the car. Ask my shoulder for more details. Haha, I'm okay though. Oh no.
Oh no.
Ow.
Oh shit. I hope you're okay. Thank you for the very nice chat. Jeez. $5 from Coffee Mom. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. Bodily autonomy has 2 requirements. 1, a body. 2, autonomy. A fetus has neither of these things. If it did, the abortion would be a birth. Period. Coffee Mom always has really good, like, succinct takes on, like, abortion-related stuff. So I appreciate that.
Yep.
Squirrel.
That was great. 5 pounds from Jessica due to McButtface. Your right name. And this super chat is on behalf of Sarah Talks Podcast. You are the best bandicoots and Espeon sex. # love you soon. # happy Pride Month. #
I don't know.
Fuck you taco. Is that like the taco Trump thing? Trump always chickens out?
Oh, maybe. Yeah, that feels right. That feels like an educated guess that I could get behind. $5 Canadian from Quantum Chaos. After the last week of whiny slap fighting between Trump and Elon, I would love to hear someone explain how women are too emotional for leadership. Right. I would also like to know. I forgot that I ranted about that earlier today.
It's so frustrating. I don't have space in my brain for the fact that Elon, I mean, we already knew he was in the Epstein files, but like, accuse Trump of being a fucking pedophile because I'm concerned with the military occupation of our own country.
No, right.
It's
It's so funny because earlier today I was like, why do I feel so bad? I was like, maybe I think I need to I definitely need to start going back to therapy, but I was like, maybe I need to get back on an antidepressant. And now I'm realizing like, oh, right, because that happened within a week's time. It's like, of course, I'm gaslighting myself into thinking that I'm not processing things well, but it's actually that I'm looking with my eyeballs.
Yeah. I used to, sorry, I know we have super chats, we got to wrap. I used to have my old therapist would send me these like weekly like questionnaires before I would go. I guess I went like every other week or whatever. To be like, evaluate your mental state. And it would be like questions like, have you felt anxious in the last week? And the options are like, not at all, some of the time, a lot of the time, constantly. And I'm like, how is this a valid measure right now? Like, this cannot be considered to actually get any valid information in this day and age. It's just like, it doesn't make sense, like.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why there are like all these statistics about how like this generation is whatever. Nowadays, we're more depressed than ever and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, look what you're doing.
For real. There's no
Look
dignified work like that can actually make you live comfortably. It's
right.
Awful. Hopefully it wanted to radicalize everyone.
Truly. 1999 from Narrative Dude. This is for two brilliant women who should be running the country. Thank you so much. And no, thank you. Respectfully. Not that I don't think that we can do it, because like I'm sure we could. I literally don't want to. I was going to say something so mean. I think I'm going to say it anyway. Seeing the actual dumb idiots that live here, I don't want to run shit for them. They don't deserve it because I am so funny and so nice, and they don't deserve me running their country.
For real.
For myself.
Although if I can run Trump style and just force everyone to have healthcare and force everyone to have a living wage, I feel like they'll come to love me,
Yeah.
I will make you love me by giving you. Right.
Yeah.
10 pounds on the fuzzy logic. Greetings from an American in self-imposed exile overseas. Thanks to Trump, Gary, I can assure you that innocent people he sent to the gulag in El Salvador don't think he's physically harmless. I forgot he even said that. I wanted to get into that and be like, physically harmless, according to whom?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like that like went over my head because everything else he was saying was so fucking insane.
It was a complete barrage of total bullshit. It was so, oh my God.
It was crazy. That was great. I think I need to watch that call again. That was crazy. $5 from John Paul. I just got done explaining to my mom that due process is for everyone. I repeated myself like 7 times. She just kept talking about the cartel. Yeah. Yeah, it's also liberty and justice for all, not just the citizens here. It's for all. People are like really, this same group is like really obsessed with the Constitution and their constitutional rights, and then just like have literally never read it.
Yeah. Some thought terminating fucking cult ass thinking, like.
Correct.
5 pounds from Jessica Doodoo McButtface. I did say Alyssa's Xmas mug needs to be a sit and spin, but nope. And now it has to be enter fuck it mode. Hashtag ice cream sucks. Hashtag Alyssa's funny today. Hashtag team Alyssa. Alyssa's funny a lot, okay? Don't underestimate her.
Thank you so much, Arden. I am funnier when I am depressed. And I think I suspect
that is
depression is
that sounds right. That sounds right.
$5.99 from Silly Spaghetti. Gary has me questioning if I hit a gravity when I wasn't looking. What does that mean? If I hit a gravity when I wasn't looking?
I think they mean like a gravity bong.
Oh, yeah, that was fucking insane. Everything he was saying was so crazy and made no sense.
Yeah, I genuinely tried to take notes, and I was like, I can't keep up with the nonsense statements or find a link between them.
No, and my favorite part of all of it was he was like at some point I was like, and this is just to confirm the Church of Gary specifically, and he's like, yeah. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, just totally owned that. Like, okay.
How bold?
Out of 8 billion people, I should just take your word for it. Okay.
Yeah.
$5 Canadian from Quantum Chaos, or as Josie likes to say, Quantos Nachos. The edibles kicked in during this friggin' Gary call, and I'm so lost, but I love it. This dude is wild, guys. Anyway, love y'all. Gary, Quantum, I'm totally sober, and I couldn't follow, so
yeah,
don't worry.
Yeah. Also, someone in the chat, where are they? They asked last week. Easy Bake Oven Death. That's their name. Asked what my favorite horror movie is, and I apparently started answering and then got distracted. Sounds like me. It changes all the time. More recently, it's been Carrie, because nothing that's scary actually happens in it, but Sissy Spacek is really fucking scary to me. She's an incredible actress, specifically in that movie. I like that there's like a little religious trauma. I think that's very nice. I also, like, over the weekend I went to a wedding and it was at a church, and I don't remember what was inconveniencing me. Something was inconveniencing me, and I said I was going to carry the church if if whatever it was
I love that.
my way. And I think that's hilarious. Anyway, $4.99 from Quackerson. Oh wait, Arden, do you want to share what your favorite horror movie was?
I don't do horror. I have enough anxiety built into my system. I don't need it given to me by a
real
movie.
Life horrors?
Yes.
Yeah. $4.99 from Quackerson. Outside of patriarchy, why do so many women hate bi guys and cross-dressers? I've met women in all political groups who don't like them in any arena. I think it's internalized homophobia. I love bi men. My boyfriend is bisexual, and he's the best thing that's ever happened to me. And I think it's partially because he is bi, because I think he's like much more connected to like feminine, like traditionally feminine parts of him, I guess. He's not really that feminine, but well, actually sometimes he is. I don't know. We just have like a running joke of like, he's my gay little boyfriend. And like, honestly, sometimes he kind of is. And it's really fun. Like it's fun to like have like a different dynamic in a partner. Same thing with cross-dressers. Like, I think it's just internalized homophobia. But I wish that everyone would dress the way that they want to and fuck whoever they want. And that's my final statement.
I think there was also like a concerted effort in the 90s to associate bisexuality with like giving women AIDS. Like somebody got AIDS from gay sex and then had sex with a woman and gave it to them. So I know that's been something I've heard from women before. Yeah.
My cousin asked me about that, and this is a cousin who like pretty regularly and historically, I'm like, and were you born in 1980 and then became your age today? Like it feels like she like time jumped from like 1980, and now that makes sense. Because I was like, where the fuck? She was like asking me, I don't know, asking me questions about that and my boyfriend, and I was like, what's going on? Where did you get this ideology from? It's so weird, and now it makes sense.
Not to mention, even if they have AIDS, we now have the medication to make it basically no different than diabetes. Maybe affects your like life expectancy a tiny amount, but like you have a virtually normal life, and it's like often non-transmissible. Oh no, I didn't read that one. I'm sorry. I put it up, but I didn't read it. $5 from Monkey at Typewriter. Gary literally called in to finish debating Matt months after the fact while Matt isn't in the conversation and somehow still lost. I wanted to address the fact that he brought up Matt, but then he said 18 other fucking things. And I was like, I literally can't address it all. So it's not worth it.
Yeah. £5 from Jessica Doodoo McButtface. My autism won't allow me to move on without correcting you, Alyssa. Your book is pronounced rouge. Like, oh, you said rogue. Hashtag love you soon. Hashtag Espeon sucks. I know. We addressed this already. I just like have never had to say the title of it out loud, so I just like wasn't really thinking about it that much. And I was mostly just like a little brain scrambled from Gary.
It's also just like such an old-timey way of saying what it is, right? It's like basically blush, but it's like they used to call it rouge.
Yeah. And I think it's also red in French.
Yes. $5 from One-Eyed Heathen. I get needing to stop. We're all wore out. I enjoy listening to the show, and the line does good work. That has helped me through a rough deconversion. Well, I'm so glad we've been able to be there for you to get through it.
Yeah, me too. $5 from DaCosta. Absolutely rude that my job is making me work during your live. I hope y'all have a good night. Thank you so much. I hope you get to watch later.
1999 from Kashik Roy. I love this show, but maybe I'm a bit too charitable. I wish we would discuss what drives people to religion and its ethos. I think people mistaken that is about what is true. I think this really should be a call. I feel like I appreciate you spent $20, so I kind of want to answer, but also you should probably call about this. Yeah. I think we give that to people all the time. We walk with them. There's some hosts who will completely follow everything this person wants to give, just so that they can't say that we steered them away, right? Like Forrest is like that a lot of the time. But I also think we often ask people directly, do you actually care about what's true? Or do you care about what makes you more comfortable? Or do you care about not having to think about your ethics and your values and just have them handed to you? And a lot of people will tell you, honestly, I don't care about what's true. I would rather have a comforting lie, or I would rather not have to think about all those things than care about what's true. But a lot of them will also tell you they care about what's true and then do all those same things again. So, but I appreciate it. That's why we have so many different hosts. They can all do different approaches.
Yeah, and definitely call in because we would love to have this conversation, especially with people who are like intellectually honest and not fucking crazy like Gary. So by all means, call in either to this show or any of the other ones on the line, and we would love to like fully discuss it all. And thank you so much for your super chat. That was really nice.
I also can't get over Bonnie snoring in the background so loud.
I literally, it like got very dark in my room. So wait, I need to like show you what she looks like right now. I'm going to flash a light on her. This looks like a horror movie.
A little bit.
This looks like Paranormal Activity ass shit, but there she is. Bonnie reveal.
Bright light on her face. I still just only like a tiny slit open to like check out the light. Unconscious.
She doesn't give a fuck. She does not care. She's like, and whatever, and I'm tired.
Every now and then one loud snore would come through. I was like, oh my God.
She needs to make herself known. $5 from President Starscream, just for shits and giggles. Espeon is great, Umbreon is better, Sylveon is best, and Eevee is just straight up cute. Or cutie. I agree that Eevee is cutie, and I don't know what the other ones are, so.
I accept your opinion. I like to fight over trivial stuff sometimes just because I'm like, everything is so serious we talk about all the time. It's kind of nice to argue over something that does not matter at all.
I agree.
$9.99 from Daniel. On a stormy Florida night, I tune into Chewed Gum, and the first thing I hear is Alyssa saying, "Oh, Hitler is disqualified from the lottery." Also, I don't feel like we got really an answer to that because he was like, "Oh, he wouldn't have been considered," and I'm like, "Been considered for the lottery? That's
for the lottery." What do you mean? And he also was like, "I'm actually not sure about that." I'm sure the fuck you're not. I'm sure the fuck you're not. What are we talking about? That was crazy.
Yeah, he's literally making it up as he goes.
$5 from One-Eyed Heathen. Gary learned some new words, and he's looking for the other Garys from the vault. He's been through a lot. Give a clone a break. Give a clone a break. Oh my goodness. That's so funny. Yeah, he's special. What a special man.
That would explain Gary. A lot, honestly.
Yeah.
$10 from Cassie Wolf. Please help me let go of my mono mindset. In a poly, sitch, and married, don't like being in separate relationships. I want to learn how to enjoy her being happy and not being hurt, that I'm the one doing it. I mean, Alyssa's going to be better for this, obviously, but my quick 2 cents is that I think trying to avoid hurt and jealousy in polyamory, I think is kind of against the whole, I think you actually have to sit with that and kind of learn how to accept those feelings, because I think it's really normal growing up in our culture. Yeah, I don't know. What are your thoughts, professional?
I think that a lot of communication goes a long way. Being really, really open and candid and honest, even if the opinion or the feelings that you're going to share feel ugly and not in line with what you're trying to do, like within the poly landscape. Expressing that you feel hurt or jealous or whatever, so that you can find better ways to process that either on your own or together, but then at least you're on the same page. I think that could be really helpful. I think maybe call and call next week and we can talk a little bit more, because I also have some like questions and I want some clarification. But I think that there's like Arden said, there's like going to be sort of a process to how this goes, and it's not going to be. I think our instinct is to be in that mono mindset, as you put. So, lead with communication and with honesty and clarity to the best of your ability. But call us next week, and yeah, we'll talk about it more.
Oh yes, you got this one. Amazing.
Fucking hell. $20 for Mr. Boricua 10. British. Go on, and Gary. The bloody pile spewed forth from ye old Goman roll. I don't know what the fuck I'm saying. Rolling me head on the bleeding floor. The mount o' cheek it takes. The have the face. Amount of cheeks it takes to have the face. Mr. Boricua 10, you've lost me in I don't know what we're talking about.
So good.
To think so. I don't know. I don't know what we're saying. I don't know what this means. This would be the easiest way to get. Okay, hold on. The amount of cheek it takes the have the face the thing. So all the women and try to convince those agreeing.
Beautiful. Honestly, Tony Award winners, look out, because I moved.
Arden?
I was like, you tried to not finish that sentence. There's still like 8 more words there for you to do, girl.
No.
Come on.
The fact that you went, are you going to finish it? Evil. Evil. That was crazy. I literally don't even know what that says. That would be the easiest way to get me to say something offensive, is to like write it in a British accent, because there's no fucking way. If any of you do that, jail. Banning you from the chat. Never speaking to you again. Mr. Boricua 10, I'll be so mad at you. Like, actually in real life, not even joking mad. Don't.
So funny.
And I read it. I got to the end, okay?
My cheeks hurt a little bit from smiling and giggling.
Oh my god. Okay, that's good.
£5 from The Fuzzy Logic. Can either of you say who composed the theme music for the Line Has a Podcast and developing a project I might want to commission them for? I don't know. I know Jimmy had a friend he did one thing 4 years ago, but we used a lot of like epidemic sound, like royalty-free music for a lot of our stuff. So, Alyssa, do you know?
I don't know who composed the theme music. However, my boyfriend can literally do that and has done that for my podcast and many others. So if you genuinely actually want to hire somebody to make music, a theme music, he can listen to the one that we did for The Line Has a Podcast and make something in that same style. So you can DM me on Instagram and I'll connect you with him, and he can do that for you if you're interested.
Awesome.
$5 from Do. I don't remember if this was
it's you, I think.
$5. Okay. $5 from Do. You deserve a small, good something for dealing with Gohan and Gary back to back. At least Deborah was wonderful to counteract the prior two. I saw Deborah's notes and I was like, I feel like this will actually be a nice one to like come down with. And I think I'm gonna have a glass of wine. That's my small good something beyond your lovely super chat. I'm gonna have a nice glass of wine and maybe some ice cream.
That sounds lovely and earned. We have $5 from Bobby Keniston. The only heaven I need is for someone to show me how they do that trick. The one that makes me scream. The one that makes me love. Yes. What is the title of that song?
Wow,
I don't
is it The
care if
Cure?
Sunday's blue.
Yeah.
That song.
Friday I'm in love.
There you go.
I never realized that they were saying the one that makes me scream, the one I like do that. Wow. That song is more sexual than I thought it was. Thank you, Bobby. We love you.
I was like, show me, show me, show me. Did you get confused? Oh, no, it's a lyric. Okay.
Surely it's a typo. Yeah, that's so funny. 5 pounds from Ian Roche. I feel it's important to be visible and speak out, especially now. So I told my mom I'm Arrow/Ace and agender today. I'll be at the local Pride Saturday too. Yay! Congratulations. Aww. That's so awesome.
Also, I feel like we haven't done nearly enough Pride stuff. Happy Pride, everyone.
Happy Pride. Yeah, you're right. I think in general, like the world is not feeling very like
prideful
rainbowy
right now. Yeah. 5 pounds from Ian Roche. I should have said LOL. Mom is very Christian, but was great about it. Thanks to chat and hosts for just being you, amazing and supportive. I'm so glad. It's really nice when somebody's able to be like, above all this, I love you. And that's what really matters, you know?
It's awesome. $5 from Aaliyah Shauna Silverbow. Whenever I put my car in reverse, I say, this takes me back. Hashtag sorry, not sorry, Arden. Still financially/emotionally recovering from my cat's passing. Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, it's really sad. Big hugs.
Yep. Sorry, it took me, I wasn't paying attention because something else came up to the pun, and I know I was like, sorry, Arden. And I was like, oh, it's a shitty pun. That's why I'm getting an apology. Okay. Thank you, Aaliyah Shauna. $5 from Melatonin Ale. Been working for 11 hours, but thanks y'all for keeping me company. Having the girlies on the line makes working a little less miserable. Well, I'm so glad.
So glad. Wow, 11 hours is a long day.
Yeah.
$4.99 from Juju Penguins. Arden, the other night on my Wiki Wander, the heck is that? I learned about, or Wander? Wiki Wander, I feel like that's right. I learned about the Barbados thread snake. Have you ever been able to hold one? They are adorsibly derpy.
I haven't held one, although there's lots of, I don't know if they're all from the same like Barbados one. Forget what they're called. There's a variety that's very, basically, if you don't know, they look like worms. They're very, very small and they look like worms. The only difference is that they have actual eyes and a mouth, like that you can see, like a snake. And they're actually snakes, but they're often in like gardens and plants and stuff that people don't even notice because they're just so tiny. Like you genuinely wouldn't know. Also, I'm sorry, I'm forgetting your name, but we met at AACon, right? You sat with us, hang out with us for a couple days, I think.
Aww.
I'm remembering the penguins and the juju, I think.
And the juju of it all.
And the juju of it all. Yeah.
I'm wondering, what is Wiki Wander or Wiki Wander? Is that like going for like an actual walk?
I'm guessing it's just like meandering about Wikipedia. I don't know.
Okay.
There we go. And $5 from Bobby Keniston. A joke for Alyssa's emotional support. What do you get when you boil milk at 200 degrees? I don't know, but it sure scorched the hell out of my cow.
Oh, that's silly and cute, and also poor cow.
Poor baby. Although my stepbrother owns a dairy farm, and those are gross sometimes. They really just like will like be humping each other and like kicking their shit all over. Like, listen, I don't want to be. Yes, the penguin girl. Oh, it's so good to see you.
Oh, cute. I like really love cows. For a period of time, I followed a lot of cow Instagram accounts, like accounts of just like people posting their pet cows. And then I had to stop because it was making me like so emotional because I love them so much. So I can't think about cows being gross. And also, like, whatever. If they want to, like, fuck around and hump each other, not my problem. Not my problem, not my business.
If you were to go to a dairy farm, do you feel like you'd be sad? Because, like, I mean, they're not, like, free roaming cows, right? Like, these aren't cows that are, like, skipping along the
I think it would
prairie
make
and
me
clean.
sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it would make me sad.
The babies are so cute, and I love to see them, but then I'm also like, but you guys do also live your entire life, like, here, and then get milked.
Yeah. It's sad. I don't like it. No. $10 from Toby Wan. I always want to ask Gohan, if abortions were done by inducing birth and then they die because it's too young to survive outside, would you be okay with abortion? If so, you just want extra suffering. That's a good question. I never really asked. I've never thought about asking that, and I wonder if that would be good. If that might be... Maybe we'll use that. Thank you, Toby. Toby Wan. I like the dog question in the picture. It's really cute.
Oh, it is a cute puppy. We have $5 from Jamnik06. When I get in a mood, like when I'm feeling utterly bad, I reach out for my emotional support cow, Bessie. # bovine lifeline. # do have a cow.
That's cute. This is my emotional support cow. $5 from Razor Sharp. Joined the live near the end of Gohan. His obsession with pregnancy has to be connected to some fetish at this point. I didn't know how many times he'd called about abortion stuff. I guess, like, I remember when he spoke to Promise, but it's always... I'm sorry. It's always a guy. It's always men who call and want to, like, debate about abortion. And I think that's because people, like, who... I don't know. They'll never, as far as we know, they'll never carry a child. And so, like, they just don't fucking care. Because it feels so, like, separate from them. Yeah. And also, like, patriarchy and, like, a bunch of other reasons. But, you know.
I think he's called, like, 4 times about abortion. And then he's called a number of times also because he has a non-binary sibling who he will not gender correctly. And who he's like, I can't talk to them because it's a lie if I respect them. And it's like, you literally don't have to, like,
it's insane to then at the same time not give us pronouns.
Yeah. Yeah, he's always like, I'm in a struggle because my brother won't talk to me because they say they're non-binary and I don't believe it. And I'm like, yeah, no fucking wonder. Like, obviously they don't want to talk to you. I wouldn't want to talk to you. I would also cut you out if you were my family member. You deserve to feel shitty and alone about that.
100%. Fucking loser. Also, I wanted to, like, I really wanted to press him on the fact that he didn't give pronouns, but I was like, I'm going to stay on topic. But the next time I'm really feeling like yapping and I don't like what he's saying, I'm going to be like, what's the deal? What's this?
Yeah, I tend not to do it because I feel like my whole thing is trying to, like, meet people where they're at on that issue. And so if people want to talk about it, like, I like that, like, you or Forrest or anyone else who tends to like to bring that up can do that. Because also people tend to take it more personally when a cis person is like, why didn't you do your pronouns? Because they're like, oh, I can't call you a radical trans activist. You're just a person. Right. So now I'm like, yeah. Then they have to flail around and be like, I don't buy into that or whatever. Yeah, anyway. We have $5 from Jessica Doodoo McButtface. Arden, you say you want to argue about silly things, but you won't let me call with my evidence-based arguments that Growlithe is better. # Arden, too scared. Okay, to be fair, I did not tell the screener to kick you for that, but I do support her doing that because you were taking up a line for some bullshit. But I appreciate the joke. Your commitment to the bit is unparalleled.
$5 from Mr. Boricua 10. Alyssa seems to no longer want to give it a go. Sad times. What do you saw me struggle through that? I could have been like, no, and not done any of it. And you saw me, I'm just really bad at it. That was me genuinely, actually, kind of trying.
I mean, I did have to, like, drag you through it, but
I know, because it's really hard and I don't like it. And I try and do it anyway, but it's not my favorite super chat because it stresses me out.
I love our whole audience is all really into, like, Schadenfreude. Like, they love torturing us with bad puns or the British voice or whatever. They're like,
I know.
If you say you don't like it, I will spend money to make you endure it.
Right. No, exactly.
$5 from Mod. I'm 36 hours from FFS. Congratulations. That's so exciting. I'm super stressed, kind of freaking out, but I am so ready to get my masculine skull dremelled into a feminine shape.
Yay!
Hopefully, I don't know what you're getting done, but definitely, I hope you have a loved one with you because recovery does totally suck when your jaw is busted. You can't eat solid foods, can't really breathe. Oh, if you get your nose done, you've got gauze in your nose, so you can't breathe out your nose the whole first night. You have to just like mouth breathe. It's terrible. It was an awful recovery, but I don't know. It wasn't too bad. I survived it.
Worth it. I think worth it.
Very worth it.
Happy healing and happy FFS day. And I hope that everything goes well and that it's like so easy and easier than you thought and that you have lots of people to help you and give you milkshakes. That's what I would want. $5 from One-Eyed Heathen. I want to announce a victory of purity culture. I'm a gay trans, I guess I think it's supposed to be trans man. Yeah. And I love a pup. What's a pup? I love a pup.
Not entirely
Is that a term
sure.
that I don't know?
I don't know if they mean like they love dogs or like you have like a...
Or if that's like a term that I'm missing. Well, either way, I love that you love something or someone. I love that you are open and happy and gay and trans and feeling all of the things that you want to feel in life. And that's really special and important. So happy Pride and fuck purity culture.
Hell yeah. I so desperately want... It's Pride. Our audience is full of queer people. Our hosts are like half queer. I really want to call you all slurs in like an endearing way, but I won't because I don't want to get in trouble. $5 from Space Barbarian. My first person pronouns are I and me. Oh my god, me too.
Me too.
So cute. We're all so alike. Well, thank you, everyone.
So cute. We're all so alike. That really got me. I don't know why.
I just love that we're all so similar.
I love that we're all so alike. Oh no, my little A. Well, thank you, Arden, for being on today, and we love you. I love you.
Love you
and
too.
I'm so happy. And it's like always puts me in a better mood. So I always I come in grumpy and I leave so happy. So
me too. Definitely leaving in a better mood than coming in. Thank you, everyone. Are you back next week, Alyssa? I don't remember if that was confirmed or not.
Yeah, girl, I'm here.
Awesome. Right on. Well, with that then, we will see you guys next week. You have a... That was really clunky. It didn't go all smooth. I was like, why is it not working? And then it just was blasting music. Okay. Subscribe to our Patreon. Patreon.com/calltheline. Thank you to our screener, Flabbergasted, all of our mods, and all of you guys in chat, and even the callers who made no fucking sense. We love you guys. We'll see you all next week. Bye.